Irashaimase, konnichiwa, boku no namae wa Barbara Smithington desu. Barbara Smithington no kitchen e yokoso. Kyou wa vegan bean slop tsukurimasu. And I don't understand what that means either, children. But today we're going to be making some delicious vegan bean slop. Now, I remember in my last video, I was told by young Terry Staplers from Birkenhead that my food's not vegan. And I said, no, because I'm cooking friends. Turns out it's because you explained it to me on MSN Messenger. I think it's because the meat is from a living creature. So forget all that. Forget what Terry says. He might be right. He might be wrong. Who cares at this point? But we're going to make some actual vegan recipes. I have a can of mixed beans in water. We're going to be opening this up like so, and then we're going to be cooking it into a fine slop. Look at that liquor. Could taste the water aromas. Let me. Oh, that's very beany. It's almost as if Mary Beans has been messing with my water supply, because that's not very nice. Oh, it tastes like Mary Beans cooking. Have you actually tried her cooking? It's awful. Awful woman, awful cook. Now, we're going to need ourselves a vessel, like so. So we're just going to dump the beans into the vessel, like so. Now, what I think we need to do is so you can see, like, parts of the beans have conglomerated, parts of them haven't. It's very beany. We're going to have to pour this into a frying pan, like so. And we're going to add some flavorings. Now, I quite like some chili with my beans. I like chili beans. To add some nice crushed chilies into here. And then we're going to have to turn this on, I think. That's not right. It's not even switched on. There we go. I bet Mary Beans has someone to do that for her, the lazy witch. So the plan is, once we've nicely cooked this down, we're going to have to heat up first. Once it's nicely cooked down, we will have ourselves some nice bean paste, which we can have with some flat bread, or perhaps tall bread, like this kind of bread. So I bought from the supermarket. It's a bit green, but they say that being green is important these days. What of all the environment. So I'll catch you back in a few minutes when this is nice and cooked. Another thing you can do once it's cooking, you can add some tomato paste, like so, into the frying pan. Going to be very good. You know, I had something similar when I was in Tenerife. I long to return there once this whole debacle is over, and I can finally soak my feet into the fine black sands of Tenerife, get on my bikini, maybe not even in that order. No, but seriously, I've had 14 COVID jabs. 14! No, I say, but Barbara, not Mary, Barbara, you're only supposed to have 2. How are you having 14? Well, I snuck into the pharmacy overnight. Turns out they don't even lock it, because I just live in a small village. Everyone knows each other. So they never expect someone would sneak in and steal 14 COVID jabs. The fools. But of course I did, and well, I'm now the strongest woman in the world. My restaurante is doing very well. Straubs and Orbs over in Upper Theverchester-upon-Sea. I suggest you visit it one of these days. We can have some where you can have some vegan bean slop. It's one of our specialities. We've actually run out of pig. We've run out of pig completely, and straws and orbs. Most of the things. It's why I mostly make bean slop, to be fair. Now, Mary Beans, ironically, does not make bean slop at her ristorante. I don't even think she has a ristorante. But we're going to cook this down. Because you think like, oh, Barbara, that looks cooked already. No, you'll be wrong. This is not cooked yet. It needs to be mushy. It is not mushy enough. It is beany and wet. And it's too wet for my blood. So we're actually going to add some flavours. We have some mixed herbs. I'm going to take this off. And we're going to pour this in here. It's the Italiano flavour. The flavour from Italy. A place that I've never been because it's awful. And that's what you add. I'm going to add some garlic. If I can find it. It's somewhere amongst the trash. Here we go. Ooh. I bet Mary Beans doesn't have this problem. I bet she has someone to clean up after her. And when she's done, she makes a horrible mess. Awful woman. But I've already said that, so let's not go on about it. I don't want any more angry letters from Mary Beans. Ooh, these are smelling good. They remind me of the beans that I had in Tenerife. The plan is I'm going to need another 14 COVID jabs, I think, before I'm safe going on a plane. You can never be too sure, you see. One thing whilst your beans are cooking you can make are a nice drink. Now, as it is, I don't know what day it is, but as we are all vegan, we are going to be making ourselves some delicious vegan slop. We're going to have ourselves some porridge oats. I used to have a big bowl of porridge every single morning, but then I stopped because I don't actually like porridge very much. So we're going to move this thing over towards over towards that tower of trepidation. Now, we're not actually going to add to it, but we do need to take off the mighty vessel, which will have ourselves some delicious porridge. There we go. So let's pour into the vessel. Now, what we do now is we need some Wasser into the porridge, and then we just leave it basically for as long as we want. Oh, you have no idea how good this feels against my skin. So you do this for a while. It also washes any grease or dirt off your hands. Oh, it feels so nice. So the beans are coming along. As you can see here, they are. Oh yes, they're sticking very well. So the idea is you create a mush out of them, make them very mushy. Just keep doing this with the back of your spoon, and you create a bean paste which is mixed with the tomatoes. This is very good. You could even put onions with this. I don't have any onions. But you could do many things with this. Is it still on? It is still burning away all that lovely gas. Sometimes you can. Even the uncooked gas smells good sometimes. But you just keep doing this. Keep getting it nice and mushy. Whilst your beans bubble away, you can also make yourselves a delicious flat bread. Now you can make leavened breads, unleavened breads. Please click the description below. There might be a link to my pig bread video. It's a very, very good video. I show some very nice recipes. But today we're going to be just adding some water to our to our flour. Like so. Not sure how much. This much. That's more than enough. I'm going to add some salt and some garlic powder. Excellent. Now it's just a matter of mixing the beans. I'm going to have to get another one out in the fridge. Just a matter of stirring it until it is combined. So we're going to make a nice dough. You must know what a dough looks like by this point if you watch my videos. I make a lot of doughs, a lot of breads. Breads are very good, they're very delicious, and they go great with my vegan bean dip. Bean slop. Vegan bean slop. So I'm going to combine this. I'm going to make some dough, and then we're going to cook it. Basically, it's not very simple, but also not very complex. But I can make it more complex if you want. Let's add some herbs, some Italiano herbs. That looks delicious. I might even serve this in my ristorante if it's good enough for our clientele. Alas, our clientele are very fussy. Now the bean slop is finally complete. It's good and sloppy. We're going to put it into this vessel, this nice little bowl here. You're probably wondering, why did you put it into that bowl so we have a bowl for later? That looks good, very beany, very tomatoey. Yes, we're going to spoon it all out into there. That'll do, because we actually need this frying pan to cook our flatbreads. We have them here, and they're just kind of proofing at the moment. This is going to be more similar to a Indian chapat than it will a Mexican tortilla. But we're just going to let them rest, let the gluten develop a bit. And then we have here a roller, a rolling pin, you could say. My husband used to use an old wine bottle. Of course, someone would have to drink the wine, and that would usually be me. My husband would only drink porn star martinis, you see. Very, very good, but unfortunately I'm not gay, so I'm not going to be drinking anything of the sort. But he's going to be very... He's going to... I've run out of shit to say. I bet Mary Beans has someone to film this for her, the grateful wench. Today we're going to have to do this the best we can. So as you can see, it's nicely flattened out. We're going to roll it out with our rolling pin, like so, just like that, and we're going to be making a nice flat bread. As you can tell, it's very flat because of all the rolling that we're going to be doing. It's very good. It's very nice. When my husband left me, I said he was dead. Well, he is dead, but he left me first. He went to live in a gay bar in Goa, and they would give him flatbreads every single day. Every single day, he would tell me. He would ring up on the phone because we would still remain friends. Part of the reason why he left was that I was in fact married to the kitchen. But not in a sexist way, because I am a woman chef who runs her own ristorante. I don't own it. It's owned by a lovely man named Mr. Tails. Very short fellow, speaks in a high-pitched voice, quite humorous. But he's very big teeth. But he owns the ristorante. He does the day-to-day. He does the day-to-day maintenance, the management, does all those number things that I don't understand. I just focus on what I'm good at, which is the cooking. Well, I've washed the pan. It wasn't easy, but it's done. You know, I reckon Mary Beans has someone who will just do the washing up for her. She doesn't have a care in the world. Just does the washing up, just gets done. She isn't sure how. You know, when I was a little girl growing up in Grantham, my father was a greengrocer, and I would help out in the shop when I was a little girl. And then later, when I became the first female prime minister, no wait, that's Margaret Thatcher. My father was a porn star, a gay porn star. He would every night he'd come home to my wife, and people would say to him, "I've just seen you in your latest film where you're having sex with a man. And how can you have a wife? How can you have children?" And he'd say, you listen here, and you listen here well. When you speak to a coal miner, do you just assume that he sleeps in the mine overnight? No, he goes home and he has a family. The porn star was his job. It was his passion. But when he came home, he went to his wife, and then they'd sleep in separate beds because this was the 1940s. But of course, then the war happened. But let's not talk about that right now. Let's cook ourselves our first flatbread. Now, the first one always turns out terrible, so I made this terrible on purpose as a joke. This one has not had the gluten to develop yet. So it's going to swoosh it down onto here. It's getting very, very hot right now. To sprinkle a bit more flour on here for no reason. And that's all you do. You just leave the flatbread, you let it cook, and then we will eventually flip it over. I'm going to do that now, like a pancake. As you can see, it's falling out much like a pancake. And what the Indians do once it's cooked on both sides, they actually set it on fire. It's delicious. Get some good charred bits on there. Very good. You know, when my husband was on Goa, we'd still keep up in touch over Amazon Messenger, and every night he'd cook the rotis, do exactly like that. But then he got set on fire, and he died. That's how he died. So it's HIV. We're going to have another attempt at that. I know this is nicely edible. It's not the right consistency that I quite wanted. So I've got a few more balls here. Get it? Balls, because the dough balls are spherical. I'm going to be doing another round of chapats. So I will see you in a few minutes when I have done all those things. We now have a second one on the go. It's going to be very good. Now what you do, you throw it into the frying pan like so. This is very, very hot fire. And we're just going to leave it for a while, because what's going to happen is after a while, little bubbles will appear on the top. You will see them, they will appear, and that's when you need to flip. But not too quickly, you have to wait until all the bubbles have appeared. Alright, I'm very impatient. There we go. And then once it's cooked on both sides, as you can see, we can then throw it onto the flames like so. It's meant to poof up like that. It's meant to do that, but there we go. It's nicely poofed up. And then you do this. If you don't burn yourself, they're not real chapats. But there we are. That's what's meant to happen. Let's turn off this cooking machine and never touch it again. Now, we're going to have to find a plate to serve up our the famous huntsman plate. You know, when my father was he was a huntsman. No, he was a gay porn star. Beautiful chapat flatbread. You could open it up a bit like a pita. But you know what? Let's do just that. We have here a Peter opener, which I'm going to name Peter from now on. Hello, Peter. You can see on the inside. Ow! No, sorry. Let's just do this. Just going to mush it on here, just like so. I'm going to put it good good amount just in the centre. However, if you had any spinach, that would be an excellent accoutrement for this excrement. Excrement. Excellent accoutrement. And you just you roll it up on that side and that side. You roll it up like so. It's going to taste so good. And then after 14 hours, you should have sawn through your beautiful bean wrap. Yes, look at that. It's delicious, isn't it? Completely vegan. Beautiful. My father was a porn star. Let's actually try the blasted thing. It's have a, as you can see from the cross section, it's very beany. It's quite spicy as well as a taste. Oh, that is very good. When you have the baked beans from the can, they're not like this. They're usually quite sweet and tomatoey. There's no sweetness at all here. It's just spice and tomatoey. It's beautiful flavours going on here. And that flatbread is excellent at all as well. It's chewy, it's delicious, charred. It's got that nice burnt flavour. Everyone in my restaurant here will be asking for the recipe, but I won't give them. But I'll there's a QR code in the complaints cupboard, and it just links to this video. I don't know how to end this fucking video. Oh, I almost forgot our oat emulsion. Now, it's only been going for an hour. Really, it needs to go for about 17 hours to get all the goodness out. But let's just try some of it. Just pour some into a glass. As you can see, it's the colour of milk, but does it taste like milk? Tastes like old porridge. Oh, that takes me back. Takes me back to my... trying to make more backstory. When father would come home from a long day down the porn star mine, they mainly film in mines in those days before he was drafted. He would bring back some oat milk and green tea, some quinoa, all the wonderful miners accoutrements. Of course, mother would send him out with 14 sandwiches, and she would know that he would trade them for quinoa, and go down the pub later, drink his porn star martinis. I suppose that's why I married my husband, really. He liked porn star martinis. Reminded me of my father. He's still alive. He's living in Mykonos. I don't see him often because I don't like Greeks. It does say that. Because I only go to Tenerife. That's why. Because I only go to Tenerife. I don't see him often because I only go to Tenerife. Okay, enough of this shit. The bean thing's fine. It tastes alright. The oat milk's fine. It's all good. It tastes good, actually. Alright, bye.